Do you enjoy this podcast but wish you had more weekly short doses of insights and nuggets? Well, if you didn't know, I recently launched an email newsletter where you can join and connect with a community of like-minded young women around the world, also on the journey of personal growth. This weekly email includes everything from mindful insights and finds, tips on living well, relationships, my personal experiences, and a lot more. Subscribe to get your weekly email newsletter. The link is directly in this podcast episode show notes, or you can head directly to my website at emilyelizabeth.blog and you can sign up from there. I'm Emily Elizabeth, and I'm the host of the What Fulfills You podcast, a show for and about individuals always seeking to be their best selves. On this show, we talk all about building the mindset, finding the right careers, creating meaningful relationships, and so much more. Welcome to the What Fulfills You podcast. Hello everyone. Welcome back to What Fulfills You. This weekend, I'm bringing you a little bonus episode. This one's actually recorded from my phone because I'm doing this kind of on the spot and something that I was thinking about as I was quite literally, you guys, putting on a face mask. And once I put on the clay mask, I was like, all right, I'm gonna just sit down for a second and share some of these thoughts, and hopefully they are conveyed well. I was reflecting on just my personal journey over the past year and a half or so. And it's come about for so many reasons. I think one thing that comes to mind is I've been obsessed with watching the Olympics. Obviously, for me personally, I think as a former competitive athlete, where Olympics for figure skating, that's the sport I'm referencing. For those of you who are new, I'm a former competitive figure skater. And so that was the environment I grew up in from 7 years old till I was 18. And the prize trophy was to make it to the Olympics, or at least compete for Team USA on an international level. That's, I think, for the most part, a lot of figure skaters' dreams. And that would also just be like maybe not Team USA, but maybe it's competing for a country where they can compete internationally. So I've been thinking about that as I'm watching the Olympics. I've been thinking about what I've been up to recently or just in the previous months of how is Emily showing up for Emily. I've come out with an episode in the past where I talk about filling your own cup and how to continue to really have a strong level of just self-identity, and which of course contributes to your overall self-worth. These things have come up in conversations with girlfriends of mine. And in the recent month, I have returned to learning piano. It's something I learned as a child for 7 years. I went to pottery class, first time since high school, because in high school I took a semester. I actually picked up a 5-week, I guess you could say, like workshop for refining my skills with DJing, something I've mentioned before. Like, I love house music. If you live in New York, one day you probably and hopefully will see me at some sort of venue if you also love house music. And it's crazy. Like, some people would say, okay, you have too many interests and all that stuff. And of course, I'm not saying I'm expanding on all of these things, but my point of what I am sharing is that I've come to realize I am being extremely intentional with how I'm investing in myself and filling my cups. And also what comes with that, besides just these like individual activities, is spending time with friends, and specifically with women that also may overlap on some of these interests. Of course, not every friend will overlap on every interest, and not, like, you know, maybe a friend you like to go work out with, maybe they don't have interest in arts or music, or like, again, I'm just expressing the things I like, or maybe like they have no desire to play pickleball or tennis. And these are also other things that I do and indulge in and would love to have people in that realm as well, you know? But one of the best things I've observed in this process is being able to really slowly come across more people that overlap not only in interests, but likely similar values. For example, someone that I might meet at a 7 a.m., Pilates class, there's probably a good chance this girl, especially if I see her regularly, she probably has a level of self-discipline that is similar. She's going to bed early enough to get to this class. She prioritizes her health, and she probably then, just as a domino effect, she probably eats like clean and similarly. You know what I mean? Like when that becomes your lifestyle, other areas of your life often have to correspond or else it doesn't last. So if I'm seeing a girl like at Pilates 3 times a week at the same 7 a.m. time slot, it's probably unlikely that she's not doing other things in other parts of her life that help contribute to that. And so where all of this is coming back to is around the question that I hear so many peers and friends of mine, and more so like friends of friends, to be honest, because they're always seeing that like I'm up to so many different things, which is cool. And it is. Sometimes I could spread myself too thin, and that's something I'm very mindful of. Like I have my focuses and I'm making sure that those are top priorities. But when I have time, of course, I'll do a pottery class once in a blue moon, or take piano twice a month. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to disrupt my main focuses. But when it comes to meeting new people, especially like-minded women, female friends, if that's currently a goal of yours, I've talked to so many of you listeners as well who have shared this. And maybe it's like, maybe you're sitting here right now and you're like, well, I actually have a good group of people around me. That's great, right? But it doesn't ever hurt to stay open to meeting people that might actually just push you a little further. That's something I really enjoy, is meeting women who might be a little further ahead of me. I think especially as entrepreneurs or content creators or, whatever that is, like that to me is inspiring. If I meet a girl that, I know plenty of YouTubers, for example, in the city that afford a very nice apartment with ease, and I have no jealousy around it. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like that is a clear indicator of it is possible for anyone and everyone, if you put your mind to it, at least to some degree. And of course there's luck involved, and I'm not going to get into that. But if your question is, how can I meet more girls like that, girls that inspire me, women that are living a lifestyle that is similar to mine and or something that I want to adopt more of, how can I find more of those? Or where can I find them? The secret is to actually putting yourself out there and actually going to the places that you might find them. I actually recently texted a friend and I was like, hey, if you're going to any networking events, or especially like those career ones where I might meet other career-oriented women, please like invite me. Or if you ever want to go to one with me, like let me know. Or if you ever see one in random that you want to go to, like I'm down to go, right? Like you have to be willing to say yes to those things. You also have to be willing to go search for those things on your own. You can't just wait for them to come into your lap, right? So if you see other people, or if you watch my social media, you might be like, how are these things happening? I am telling you behind the scenes right now, speaking in present moment and reflecting on the past month and a half, 2 months, a lot of things I've been doing has been solely like putting myself out there. I even recently messaged a girl that I saw was following me, and I just checked her out. It looks like she's based in New York, and she's also a businesswoman and definitely ahead of the game than me. But it was really fun, and she's also like not from the US, and so that was like another element that it was like really cool, because we were able to relate to certain interests and maybe travel spots that she's like been to that I also love and maybe have been to, and I reached out and I was like, hey, like I feel like we actually have some alignment, like would love to meet up, let me know, like maybe coffee or walk or whatever. We went on a long walk and we just had a long, like 3-hour conversation, right? But what I did, and funny enough, I told my boyfriend this, I was like, oh, this is an intention of mine over like the second half of the year. My intention is to continue to find more female friends like this, to continue to fill my cup, and also to make sure like I'm not just going day by day and not actually thinking through what it is that I want out of my life, not just in my career, because I know I talk about career and stuff a lot, and while I am a career-oriented person, I don't put career first, just to make that very clear. I am an entrepreneur, and I am so grateful to be able to do what I do, but that doesn't come first. Relationships has always been at the forefront for me, and I think it is that in itself that has enabled me to be an entrepreneur, a full-time self-employed entrepreneur, and it's just ironic because it goes hand in hand. And so just wanted to record this short episode to really emphasize for those of you who are often yearning for maybe a little bit of a shift in the people you're surrounded by, maybe a shift in the types of places you're going to, even as small as like one day, maybe from 21 to 24, you were like fine with the dive bars, or no shame to whatever place, but I'm just pointing out like you were fine with going to these places and all that. And then one day you're 24, maybe 25, and it just hits you and you're like, I don't really want to engage in these activities anymore. Like you suddenly have this epiphany of I want more of this. Like I want also, like, let's say when it comes to dating, you're like, I'm not going to put up with guys that ghost me or, are still immature. Like you suddenly set the bar higher for yourself, right? Like you realize that at some point in your mid, maybe even late 20s, okay? And this is what I'm sharing with you. It's something I've done. It's something I continue to do, is you must go find those opportunities for yourself. You must go ask for them, and you must really set that intention out there so that you can continue to find it, because I'll end on this. It's just like that psychological concept or whatever they call it. But like, how if you're hunting for a car that is red, then everything you'll see are just the red cars, right? So it's kind of like that when you're hunting for maybe men that treat you better, more mature, and or maybe it's like girlfriends that are also sharing similar values. Maybe you're Christian, maybe you're religious, and you want more women that share that. Maybe it's time to find a church group in your town or city, right? Maybe it's time to go to church on Sundays. You know what I mean? Go do those things for yourself. You will thank yourself over the next few years. You will realize, you will realize that it all just started with you setting that intention and taking action on it. All right, so that was all for today's short weekend bonus episode. Hope this was helpful. Hope this got some thoughts and ideas running. And as always, if you enjoy the podcast, if you enjoyed this episode topic, please be sure to let me know. It does mean a lot. It helps me gauge better what it is that I can provide for you guys in terms of valuable insights and topics and things that I observe along my day-to-day. And yeah, that is all I have. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend or wherever you guys are at when you're listening to this episode, and I will talk with you all in the next one.